our next speaker is Gary Curcio. Gary is a lead forester for IPA Fire Environment Specialist, LLC, who concentrates on wildland smoke mentoring, modeling, and training. Presently a practicing air resource advisor, his current work projects involve the advancement of fire, weather, forest fuels, prescribed fire, and smoke management. With that, Gary, you've got it.
Okay, smoke and roadway safety pocket card. There's been a lot of effort over the years to address roadway smoke, and I do not want this presentation in any means to make anyone scared about burning, but it is something that we do need to address. And why is not my presentation? There we go. Over the years, since 2006, well, it was really since 2008, I was the F-band on the Evans Road fire, and also we had a serious fatality due to roadway smoke. And it was very frustrating because back in 2008, it took me as a trained F-band while I was working the Evans Road fire to assess information that took me almost 2 hours to put together, where that roadway event was totally predictable. And over that time, we have really developed our toolbox of the various products. And as I thought about this presentation, I thought about one more product that if Corey Davis is still on the line, I'd like to talk to him about it. But with that said, recently we developed a smoke and roadway safety pocket card under the auspices of NWCG, the Smoke Committee. And this is the incident that occurred in 2008 in North Carolina. It was very unfortunate because we did lose 2 first responders. We lost Steve Bohm and Gene Thomas. You know, these fatalities have name, and this really hurt the people around Verona. It was the Verona Fire Department, very outside Jacksonville, North Carolina. And even this past summer, these tools were invoked to the credit of Camp Lejeune and the North Carolina Forest Service because of a wildfire event and the possibility of putting smoke across Highway 17 again. So it was very close, but the tools were used. And when they wrote up this accident, NIOSH came in and did a report. I want everybody to look at that sentence. Unforeseen weather conditions had caused smoke from a contained fire. I'll take issue with the accident investigator. Remember, I said it took me 2 hours to gather the information, and it was predictable. In other words, I collected information from the day before, and so you should have known or could have known that this was going to set up. And so to say unforeseen weather conditions, I would say no. It's just that we did not have access to them at the time. And, you know, with our toolbox, which, like, you can go back and look at the slide later because I want to make this quick, that we've really added to that toolbox. We took it on, a few of us, so that we could get into a position where we could say this would never happen again. And so it's, you know, someone's duty to be situationally aware and to be situationally aware of these tools. And I think that's the big question going forward. Not everybody has these, if you want to say, the background and expertise to implement it, but this is why we came up with the pocket card. It gives hints. There was 2 pocket cards developed. The one that gets published, and I posted 2 documents if people would like to order this card from NWCG. It comes in a pack of 25 for roughly $25, so they're $1 a piece. But it gives you a simple risk screening assessment checklist on the right, which is very critical, and it can really, even to the novice, tell you you got a problem, have a potential problem, well before it takes place. And then it gives you a clue on the left of how do you stay informed, monitor your smoke, you keep those lines of communication open, and own your smoke and take action and employ mitigation actions. And it may be a lot to say for the private landowners, but I think maybe going forward as the council and all the participants and the members is like, well, who steps up if we recognize we have an event? And even though these events do not occur frequently, thank heavens, they probably occur more frequently than we realize, especially super fog events, because we have no national database. And when I say super fog, visibility is under 10 feet by definition. But in the development of this simple card, which is now published and out there for everyone to use to help them and at least apprising them their situational awareness if they are setting up and they are going to have persistent smoke going through this card well during when it's happening can give you enough lead time to identify who you need to call to get help coming. This is the simple card. We also developed a robust card because what happened is, to the technical experts that are being trained on this, like the air resource advisors, as I said, these events don't occur frequently, but they do occur. And if they do occur, they can be fatal. And that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to have any fatalities out there. So the robust card embraces the simple screening assessment, but it really outlines for that technical person or the first responder, and the Forest Service has a couple of the people on their workforce that can address these things. And these are the steps that we would go through and apply. And that's the smoke dispersion matrix and the watch out critical thresholds, probably the most important thing that is on this card, because it identifies the critical thresholds that you really need to be in tune with. And this is not a training session, but having the 4 basic weather elements well informed on, and that is your surface wind speed, your temperature and relative humidity, and what the cloud cover is. The uses of the indexes like Turner stability, atmospheric dispersion, low visibility, occurrence risk index, and the superfog potential, they all put icing on the cake. But if you don't have those indexes, knowing those 4 basic weather elements, and if they're really reaching critical thresholds, and if you have smoke, persistent smoke on the surface, you got a problem. And then what do? Well, you go to the back of the card. It gives you the minimum acceptable visibility. It gives you the quick reference to calculate superfog potential, which is a probability. And then it goes through the daily roadway risk management checklist, and it really goes through risk management. You authenticate what's going on around you, your situational awareness. You're going to assess that roadway smoke hazard, and then you're going to think about what are you going to develop as far as responses and how you're going to address it. And then who's going to implement those responses? And of course, believe it or not, yes, you got to be out there monitoring the situation. So basically, the robust card is really a walkthrough process for the person that is going to be responding to it, while the simple card is really for maybe the everyday landowner, prescribed burner, or even anybody with the agencies. Do I have a problem? If the answer is yes, when you do your risk assessment screening, then it's like, okay, who are you going to call? And in the Camp Lejeune incident that I referenced, once Camp Lejeune recognized they had a potential problem with persistent smoke, they made a hotline call to one of the experts with the North Carolina Forest Service to run preliminary tools and make an assessment, and they were prepared for a superfog event. Fortunately, it didn't occur, and that's a good thing. So, you know, we need to take responsibility. We need to own our smoke. And if we take what we have in the pocket cards and the tools to address roadway smoke, we have, excuse me, we have the ability to predict, to plan for, and to prevent any fatalities. So these situations can be inverted, and that's the good thing. And this is the super fog event that we had in Apex, North Carolina, back in December 10th, 2015. And you're looking at what the tools would have predicted if anybody had looked into that super fog event that occurred before it occurred. So you're looking at modeled runs using PC High Split, your trajectory tools, and PB Piedmont. And you can see the accident site was pinpointed, or one of the accident sites, and all the models were on the money as far as hitting where that accident was going to occur. But unfortunately, no one responded. And this is what the roadways looked like. And believe me, that super fog, you couldn't see more than 10 feet. And if you look really hard, you can make out the dividing line for the roadway and the white line on the right side of the roadway where you got your edge line. And you had a lot of people driving off the roads because they couldn't see where the road was. So with that said, I'm done. And if anybody has any questions, and I just hope that we make sure we know who our experts are, so that when somebody does recognize they have a problem, that we can get the tools and the people in line to start working, and that we can have a response. And like I said, you can predict this when you're having a problem. We all recognize when we have a problem, then the next question is it going to persist into the night? If the answer is yes, then get these tools working, and we can really plan and avert any serious injuries. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I think we have one quick question. Looks like as first responders are informed about the pocket card, are they also informed of tools like Kestrel devices that they can have on hand if they reach the second section, particularly E through H?
Did you say Kestrels?
Mm-hmm. That's what the question is.
Yeah, I mean, having anything that's going to take weather, and if you have the pocket card or you know what those critical threshold values are, like I said, if you can live knowing those four basic elements, the weather elements, if you have them and all of them are critical, the best disruptor is the wind speed. So if the wind speeds up, you may have very poor visibility. It may get down to 100 feet, 150 feet, which is not good, but it's not that 10 feet or less. And what's bad about when you get the 10 feet or less or the super fog event is that it comes up to you like a wall. I mean, you could be driving and you're not paying attention. You see visibility getting down, and you're driving and you maybe haven't taken your foot off the gas pedal. But what happens in the super fog event, all of a sudden you hit visibility that's 10 feet or less, and you're in a white cloud. And if everybody who's listening, just shut your eyes right now, and if you do that, you're driving in a super fog event. And, you know, one of the super fog events that we forecasted on the Paynes Bay fire, I went down and experienced it. And we had the roadway closed and secured. But when I drove into that super fog event, I couldn't get out for 30 minutes because I couldn't see where the road was. So it's predictable. And if you have weather tools, keep them. They're good. And watch those critical thresholds.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for that reminder about safety and for sharing this resource.